All right, welcome to the Geek Branch podcast. We're going to discuss with you about Disney apparently going to be working on a new Tron reboot. So, as we know, there was a sequel many years later in 2010 called Tron Legacy.
There's also, it's Tron Legacy.
It's Legacy, I'm sorry.
It's like, it was 2010. And then there's the animated series.
That's Evolution.
Yeah,
That's
Evolution. That's set after. And most people don't count that. But
there's also the animated movie, too.
Yeah.
So there's 4, continuations of the Tron.
But most people don't count those. They just think of the live action stuff. I'm just saying, for most normies,
Movies, there's 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So, apparently Disney's working on a reboot. So, I would assume that they're resetting things, that they're not going to use the same actors. Jeff Bridges is not involved. The guy who played as Alan Bradley Tron, I don't think he would be involved again.
Yeah, but I just got a Terminator feeling about this.
The Terminator effect?
Yeah, I mean, remember the Terminator reboot?
Yeah.
The one with Emilia Clarke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
That one's terrible.
No, but this
I
is
know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, so this is that.
But this just means that Disney is obviously looking at a lot of their back catalog and like, let's remake this, let's remake that. And I think it's going to be primarily,
Fox, didn't they?
Yeah. No. Disney has always made.
Disney has had Tron?
Always had Tron.
Yeah. Tron's always been a Disney thing.
Yeah.
I only know that because of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
The 3DS game.
Well, even then, it was in Kingdom Hearts 2 as well.
That's right. It was in Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah, it's been a while. So they're also looking at a lot of their other back catalog things. I think that if they do make it, I think they'll end up doing it for Disney Plus. I think that they have a set amount of things that they're just going to start making for theaters. Every once in a blue moon, there'll be Disney made things from Disney.
This is going to be the equivalent of a straight to DVD movie.
Yeah. Well, no, it's the
yes and no.
But the budget that they put on these streaming services is the equivalent as if it's going on a theater.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
But straight to DVD is normally lower budget.
Yeah, I guess
it's like Pocahontas 2 or.
Let's not talk about that. But it's still, that's my point though, is that it's going to fall into the same category as other Disney movies that went straight to.
Right, it's their new take on it, because obviously Disney, when it comes to theater releases, they're focusing on things like Star Wars and Marvel,
and then a few reboots, or not reboots, but remakes,
live action versions of their animated movies, except for the smaller name ones like Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah,
they knew Lady and the Tramp was made. They knew not to put that to theater.
Wait, that exists?
Yeah, that was one of their
Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, it was one of the premiere things for Disney Plus.
Oh,
yep,
neat.
Yeah, people said it's not that bad. If you appreciate the animated one. Did you watch it?
No, because yes, and it's the same issue as Lion King. Photorealism doesn't work.
Every once in a while, their stuff works.
Well, no. See, the problem is that the beauty of the animated series, and the reason why the animated series are always going to be better than the live.
Oh, of course, Aladdin. I've never watched live action one. I don't care to, because I loved the original.
Well, okay. I mean, Aladdin you could possibly do, with the exception of the parrot. But my point being is that animated characters can be personified infinitely more than photorealistic animals.
Yeah.
Because the animated characters can emote. The photorealistic animal can't.
I actually haven't watched most of their reboots. I've only seen one.
Did you watch Lion King?
No.
Okay.
Maleficent.
Maleficent? Okay. Well, I mean,
it was dumb.
Sure.
And the sequel looks even more dumb.
The one I'm specifically want to always reference from now on to the end of eternity is Lion King, because Lion King was an atrocity.
Some people loved it.
I have not seen Lion King. I have not seen Lion King either, but I just can't imagine they'd get that same emotion as when Scar threw Mufasa.
No, they said none of that even.
That's the problem. That's literally the issue. Do you remember that scene? Do you remember Scar grabbing Mufasa's face as he because it's the exact same. Let me explain to you in photorealistic mode.
But you don't have to worry about that with Tron.
Yes. But my point being is that technology has not made things better.
The movies that they need to remake that are animated are not their animal related ones. Like Atlantis. Atlantis is a perfect one to turn into a live action movie.
Right. Which would benefit from technological advancement.
Right. And they could have Michael J. Fox play as the old guy that funds the excavation.
Yeah, look, so Tron, right?
Yeah.
As a series. The reason why it doesn't need to be rebooted. Okay. sometimes the point of a series is capturing the world as it was during which the time was made, and moving it to the modern day doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, the first Tron was made in the 80s.
Right, but see, here's my thing. It's actually the same thing with 2001: A Space Odyssey. But I'm gonna get to the reason why I make that comparison. The same thing is with most Japanese horror, OG Japanese horror, because it was really focused on Japan's fear of technology. Which is all what we're gonna wrap up here. Is that during the period of the 80s to like the early 2000s, we all, as a culture, especially in the most technologically advanced nations like America and Japan, had a fear of technology.
Yes.
And Tron is a perfect example of that, because the MCP, which is the big organization that's from the original, I don't know, did you watch the original Tron?
Yeah, I did. It's a
You've
long
watched the
time
original
ago.
Tron?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember the MCP, right? The
Yes.
big organization? Okay. So they make a virtual intelligence, right? Which is a VI, not an AI. But regardless, it's a virtual intelligence. And the thing is greedy beyond all reasonable
That's the master computer thing in the middle, right?
Right.
The big circular face.
Yeah.
Master control program.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the MCP.
Yeah.
And it's entirely focused on accumulating all the most negative things. It's the entire purpose of the technology is to gather as much wealth, influence, power, secrets,
It's basically
blackmail.
a greedy CEO.
Yeah. It's that's the entire issue with it, is that it's running rampant with all of this technology and using it for the worst ends, right? In 2019, that is no longer a fear for us.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't find that scary. We find that to be reasonable and
Well,
realistic.
they could go
We
a
find that to be
different.
the goal of life at this point.
They could go a
Right.
different way about it, because people worrying about social media, everybody finding out their information is a big thing right now.
But then that could just be a new series.
Right, and a new Tron.
No.
I
Not a
know,
new
I know what
Tron,
you're
just a
saying. New
new
series, but
IP.
they want to use Tron's name.
But that's why it's going to fail. Like Terminator failed.
Yeah.
That's
New
that's,
one,
that's
the
functionally
past
the
two
issue.
not Tron, Terminator
Terminators.
movies flopped.
But that's because you can't capture what was originally the point anymore.
Right.
Like when you do these reboots, you try to bring back the original atmosphere of the time, but we're not the same people as the people who
Oh
watched it
God,
in theaters.
especially in 1982. God.
Right. Think about it, right? We
Yeah.
are far removed from that. So when you bring me back to the virtual world of Tron, when you bring me back to the MCP as a virtual intelligence, and you want to resell this issue to me, not only am I technologically savvy enough to understand what it's doing, which is a big
We're
thing.
not from the Cold War era.
Right. Because you have to think about it, right? Back in the day, when the MCP appears, no one knows what that is.
Yeah.
No one knows what it can do. And then you start telling it all the things that it can do. The fact that it can keep track of everyone's financial records across the entire freaking planet, given access to it. The fact that it's that powerful. You know what I'm saying? You get a fear of it. And that's why I brought up 2001: A Space Odyssey, right?
Right.
Because no one in the right mind back then could imagine a computer turning to you and saying, "I'm sorry, I can't do that."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we don't have that fear. That's not terrifying to us. We can totally
What they should
imagine.
do is go the route of, they have a lot of Black Mirror episodes about technology.
Yeah.
That's the route they should go.
I think that, okay, so here's the reason why I think it's going to fail.
We wouldn't know, because it would be on their streaming service, so it wouldn't matter if it failed or not.
It's still,
It's like Netflix.
yeah, but it still counts, because if it does not receive a significant amount of like pull, then it's still
Social
a
media
loss.
engagement.
It's
and
still
all
a
that.
loss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't assume that just because you're like Netflix throwing money into it,
Right.
That it'll immediately,
that there's any return on investment. That's the whole point about streaming services. You think that just because you have X amount of subscribers that your new content still carries, as long as you keep those new subscribers, but you can lose money
Right.
on projects.
They typically know when one of their shows is a big hit or not on the
Right.
streaming services.
And I just don't think that Tron will, because we are already aware,
Right.
you and Custer, we're cognizant of what Tron is.
Right.
We've been here for 4 versions of Tron. So when you say Tron, we know what we are thinking
What's
about.
Tron supposed to be?
So
Yeah.
if they Black Mirror it and it becomes something new,
It
then
shouldn't be
it's-
Tron. If you don't have a light cycle,
Right.
you don't have no form of any sort of Gladiator games or something, or some reminiscent of that.
Right. And if they do just pay lip service to that, but don't keep the core of what made Tron special,
It's not Tron anymore.
and we're gonna hate the reboot.
Right.
Terminator.
Right.
That's my issue. That's exactly what's going to happen.
You know what show or movie I think that they should either else reboot it or continue it somehow. And it was a big flop for Disney, and they put a lot of money in it. John Carter.
Oh yeah, The Martian.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
It was also really strange though when you like.
Stream suggestion.
No, not Strange Suggestion. The movie itself, the original,
Yeah.
the one that not the original, the one that we just recently got.
It was like 2011, 2012. It was around the same time as Tron Legacy. That was when Disney started having a lot of flops.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm saying, do you guys remember watching it?
I never saw it.
Oh really?
I never saw it.
Yeah.
People hated on it a lot.
I didn't say that I hated it.
No, I'm saying there was a lot of people that hated it at the time.
Yeah, it's just really weird.
2012.
Yeah. I want to say I remember Dad saying it was okay.
It's not bad. It's just, but that's my whole point.
The plot line could the books that's based on, if they were to use that again, they could
be more true to the source material.
Yeah.
But that's my whole point, though, right? Once again, the thing that Disney always fails to do, that all of these reboots fail to do, is that you cannot recapture the original spirit. You can't. I mean, not even just reboots. Most sequels have failed in this as of like the modern times.
It was when they were trying to do a lot of live action stuff. The other live action movie they made that was terrible was Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
Yeah,
you know, that's a hate watch for me. I like that one.
Jake Gyllenhaal, poor guy.
Yeah. It goes into the same category as The Room.
Yeah.
It's bad. You know it's bad, but it's also entertaining.
You'll still watch it.
Yeah, it's also entertaining. But so my thing, right, is that let's say we go with your idea. We do John Carter. Okay. John Carter is like reminiscence of like Flash Gordon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's that whole what's the best way of putting it? It's the same reason why I think like Valerian didn't do as well as it should have.
Right. That bombed.
Yeah, it did. Even
It
though
shouldn't have.
That was really good. I
love Valerian. I'm an original fan of both the Japanese animated series for it and the French comic itself. But regardless, we're going to continue on with this. We are past the age of where there is a true sense of wonder in exploring space and alien, but not that it's like, not that it's something that can't amaze us. Because, like, look at Arrival, for instance. Right. That was amazing. And it involves the same thing. You know, this whole journey into the unknown, meeting aliens, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But the classic iteration of it, Flash Gordon, John Carter, this great adventure in this other
How Star Wars started.
Right. In this other world was perfect for the 70s and 80s. Right? Because it was something that enraptured those people. But we have been so familiarized with it.
And at that point, like, space travel was just becoming a big thing. Like, we had just like,
there was a true sense of awe in going to Mars.
At this point now, like, it's a feasible thing that we could go to Mars in the near future.
And that's why mechs are the future.
Yes, but regardless.
For movies. That's why we're finally getting a Gundam movie.
Yeah, right. Because we're still looking into the far future and trying to find, it's all about that sense of wonder.
Right.
And unfortunately, the problem is that there isn't really a sense of wonder that comes from John Carter anymore.
Or Tron.
Because you can't possibly imagine being the guy who's sitting in a theater the first time a light cycle, I mean, it's back in the 80s, a light cycle kicks on.
I wish Dad was here. He could tell us that.
Right. You know what I'm saying? The first time it just, and the lights come on and you see the freak.
And the cool
it's mind-boggling. It's cool.
Yeah, right.
You know, the iconic
Tron
poster.
Yeah.
Well, in the poster where you see him like lifting
the power discs, I think is what they're called.
Yeah.
But we can't capture that anymore.
No.
And you can't sell it back to us.
In the opposite vein, like, whereas you're going on the wonder thing, I keep thinking of the fact that a lot of the movies and stuff like that is trying to capture our sense of nostalgia for these older things, the older stuff that are bringing back to now.
Yeah, like Netflix brought back Lost in Space.
And in the same regard, it's not what we remember, and that's another problem of.
Well, because it's not true to it.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I mean. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying in the different. pointing it in a different vein, basically.
Right. No, you're right. Because the whole thing is that if you're going to sell us nostalgia, right, you have to capture the thing that makes us remember what it is.
Right.
What makes it nostalgic?
And that is like where The Force Awakens failed.
Yeah.
Because it was all the same beats.
It's like Gotham. Gotham in Force Awakens was an example where they just threw it in your face. Hey, here's Chewbacca. Hey, here's Millennial Falcon.
Oh.
Or with Gotham, hi, I like riddles. My name is
Edward Nygma. And I'm just
Nygma.
like,
They
it's the
both
Riddler.
suffer from that.
Yeah. But rather than, could you imagine how much better Gotham would have been if our first interaction with Edward Nygma would be Edward? Just Edward. Just
Yeah.
a guy named Edward. So maybe the most like out there fans would be like, oh, could that be Edward Enigma? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But regardless,
And
he's
then
just,
same with Star Wars. Star Wars was very much in your
It
face.
was very
just
much
like-
in your face of, hey, this is just a remake of the movie you liked, A New Hope.
right.
'Cause it's basically what it is.
Right. And like imagine if we had taken 3 or 4 or 5 episodes just in the beginning of the series.
with less likable people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But 3 or 4
Except
or 5
for
episodes.
Harrison Ford, of course.
Yeah, he's a champ.
I actually really liked Finn. I liked Finn.
Finn's not bad.
I liked Finn.
I saw your Terrell, your friend that always comments on our stuff.
Mhm.
I saw one of his posts about how apparently Finn had to basically fight
Oh yeah,
for the last movie to get more screen
Screen
time
time.
because he was supposed to be one of the main characters.
he's part of the new trio
Right.
because it's Han, Luke, and Leia. It's supposed to be Poe, Finn, Rey.
Yeah.
Except it's not.
And they decided to like force in a romance that wasn't even there.
It would have made more
In the
sense with her and Finn.
Yeah, look, they could have done anything really. I mean, remember that
Instead
like,
of her having some awkward romance with somebody that's probably we're gonna find out related to her somehow.
I mean, but you gotta find me right here, right? That all the romantic beats from the original Star Wars were between the original 3. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
it was contained within that circle of 3.
Right.
Because Luke had feelings for Leia, but didn't realize
No
that
one
Leia
had
was his sister.
feelings for Poe. I mean, Poe,
Well,
except for maybe Finn.
Finn, but that's my point. Like they could have gone that route, right?
Yeah.
They could have played with that.
But instead they decided to have
Rose
Rey.
Tico come into existence,
Yeah.
and Rey completely ignore her own circle, which is the core trio, and go in a romantic direction with one of the primary antagonists, which would kind of be like someone from the original trilogy, Leia in this instance, liking like Grand Moff Tarkin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's almost as weird as
Ugh.
that. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to realize that Vader was the primary antagonist
Right.
for the original trilogy, not Sidious, because we didn't know Sidious as
Existed
yeah.
in that way.
Yeah. So you would think that, Snoke and Vader are actually the equivalent, and that Kylo Ren actually functionally serves a role closer to Grand Moff Tarkin.
That wasn't the case though.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean,
Well,
he was obviously meant to represent Vader, but he obviously wasn't Vader.
Well, that's the whole point. He wanted to be his grandfather, and he
I
could
mean,
never live up to what his grandfather
I'm
was.
just talking about like in the plotting and pacing of the series.
The way they made it, yeah.
Right, because we're gonna remember that like we figured out the Snoke existed really quick.
Yeah.
And Snoke obviously supposed to represent Palpatine, but like you could tell where they're trying to match things up, but it actually slides.
I don't understand why. I know this has nothing to do with Tron, but I don't understand. J.J. Abrams, he did an interview saying that he didn't understand how he couldn't make a third movie without the Emperor, without Palpatine.
Oh,
Because he says it's not just ending 3 movies; it's ending a whole saga.
That's fine
they're
at that point.
dead. You can end a series
Because he
with
was
a
in the-
core character
I guess because he's
dead.
thinking because he was in the prequel saga and the
sequel, then
original.
he has to appear.
At this point, they should have just kept the EU storyline.
Yes, where he came back as a clone.
I'd be like at this point, I'd be okay with that because it's better than what we have.
Yeah,
Right. Look, okay, so the issue with that is this. Okay. It is perfectly fine for a character to resonate throughout the entirety
without
of a
him
series
actually being alive.
with him dying in the I will show you the perfect example of it, and if you think it's wrong, you can fight me right here. Eddard Stark.
Well, Tony in the MCU.
Well, no. Just Eddard Stark. Eddard Stark bites it in season 1, and he is still a core character.
He's talking about
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's still a core character in Whatever.
Game of Thrones.
I know, but you went to Tony Stark, and I just realized that.
Yeah.
I was just like, regardless.
If it makes you feel better to him, I also thought that's who you were referring to.
Yeah, Ned's actual name is.
No, I
We know his actual name. We thought you were going the Tony Stark route.
Marvel route because.
No. I was going Game of Thrones because
Dane, you do realize I only watched like the last 4 seasons of that.
I know. But listen,
Sean
yeah,
Bean's
Sean
character.
Bean,
Sean
the
Bean's
person
character.
who professionally
always
died.
dies.
Yes.
May he rest in peace.
Yes. But Eddard dies in season 1.
Whoever doesn't know that's been living under a rock
And you feel the effects of Eddard as a character
throughout the
the entire series. Even at the very end of it,
They
Eddard
don't
is
even
still.
mention the Emperor in episode 7 or 8.
Yes, because
I don't
everything's a
remember.
myth.
I don't
No,
remember.
because everything's a myth. Remember,
But it's not that much time has
it's
passed.
40 years.
And Leia is still around. She could literally tell them people anything.
Everything's a myth, man. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't tell you anything else besides the fact that the writing is bad.
I know the writing is bad. It's just me frustrated. Let's go back to Tron, who
Yeah.
also had bad writing.
Yes and no.
The sequel did.
Yes, because they didn't focus on the things that. But once again, didn't focus on the things
And
that
the
made
CG
Tron.
on the CG on Jeff Bridges looked ridiculous.
Oh, yes, it did. Quite,
Yes.
unfortunately. But like they got all the glam and glitz and all the iconic things, like, gladiatorial fights and light cycles and all the cool
Yeah.
stuff. But you didn't catch the spirit of Tron, which is what's going to happen here. They're not going to catch the spirit of Tron. It's impossible. They fail.
You can't catch a what's the saying go, firefly or something like that in the bottle again, or lightning in the bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, twice. You can't do it twice.
But it's just and you could take it in a new direction. You could extrapolate on it. You could see we know what I'm willing to see. What's the result?
Right.
Of Tron.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What is the result of this story? Progress it.
I'd actually love to see a story that takes almost like Excel Worlds type thing where
It's AR. AR-Tron.
It's AR-Tron, where it's literally like the stuff that the people that deal with Tron now it's in the real world. Like
Yeah, it could be set like a little bit further into our future, and they have a lot of like AR type equipment now.
Yeah.
People do.
Well,
And it's and of course it starts affecting their equipment.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
see that'd be a good way in my opinion to do it in the future instead of
And not include Jeff Bridges' kid in the series. Just don't include that family into it. I don't think they should. I don't think they should be involved.
sure. No. Yes. If you mean like take it into another direction, Jeff Bridges' characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Finn.
Yeah.
And
Tron would be the one character that would make sense to continue
right.
to exist in it.
Amongst other things, yes.
Yeah.
Some things would just be there in the system
Right.
that would continue on, but that's fine.
well, that'd be cool. Like have like a cafe that has both AI characters and real life characters intermingling.
Tons of innovations,
Yeah, see,
and tons of things that we could do that could at least carry on the spirit, if not.
And they
recapture
could
it
do real life like gladiator style stuff like
as a part of the game.
Yeah.
yeah, and it brings back all the things that we would remember. Imagine doing that like racing,
Right.
the like actual like
yeah, and then you
They could
Like-
go the whole how Alita has that whole
what is it called again? Blitzball.
blitzball.
Yeah.
It would be like that for them, like
That
the,
is-
the Tron games.
Is that Final
would be-
Fantasy?
that's
7?
Final Fantasy 10.
10.
Yeah,
sorry,
10.
That's
sorry.
an entire meme for me.
Yeah.
Let's
I know,
not
right?
go into that.
Not Blitzball. That's what
But
was it
you know-
called?
Powerball.
Powerball. There it
Powerball.
is.
I've never seen that movie, and I still I remember that.
Anyways, so it would become their new huge sport.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah.
Just as a way of continuing this. We're doing the world building.
Yeah.
Right. But the whole core tenets.
Disney needs to give us a paycheck.
Right. Just.
But even then, to elaborate on it, like you could have where the AI or a
Is
rogue AI,
is the old Tron.
well, a rogue AI figures out how to make the artificial stuff affect reality, and that way, like people start killing people in gladiator tournaments, and they have to figure out what's going on. Literally, granted, it's the if you die in the game, you die in real life, but type thing. But like literally, that'd be
Tron never touched on that.
I know it
Yeah.
never did,
But that's
but
my
it'd
point,
be
though,
something
right?
cool for like a continuation.
Just
Disney, give us a paycheck.
Anything is better than what they're going to do.
Yeah,
just-
they're not going to go in the right direction with it at all. Anyways, so Disney is clearly going through their catalog, looking at what they can build their Disney Plus further, other than just Marvel and Star Wars. Should be interesting what they decide to do. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening. Most of all, thank you for allowing us to get to the root of our geek culture with you. Thank you.